if the buyer's agent has failed to explain to you the research behind why we're hunting in this area. If the strategy hasn't been clearly defined and hasn't been documented, and the communication process. So in terms of best practice, in a lot of these respects, I would love to see that all correspondence is recorded these days with transcripts and all of that. You can potentially record those. They can be summarized with AI, and then everyone's on the same page as you're going through that conversation. But secondly to that, we think best practice is also having a written document that basically provides evidence of the area that you're going into and why you're doing it. We call it a blueprint, okay? And ultimately that blueprint will tell us about the short, medium, long-term performance of that area. It'll tell us about the types of properties that we think are examples of, i.e. recent comparative sales, examples of markets that are properties, I should say, within that market and that area that we think are the types of properties that we're hunting for that will meet your brief as part of that particular story. So it really is important, transparency, isn't it, Bryce?
100%, 100%. So you've got the one hats, many agendas problem. You've got the lack of transparency. You also have a risk around surprise fees. So you want to make sure that when you are signing the agreement, that you are super clear on how much you're paying. And is there anything that triggers more payment at some point down the track? So you want to make sure that there's no incentives for the buyer's agent for how much you spend on a property. For us, we talked about obviously flat fee can really clear that up. But if you've got a percentage, you want to make sure that it's super clear on all bandwidths and all price ranges so that you know what you're getting up front.
Yeah, and I think to that point, I want to be potentially signing some type of engagement contract that is really clear about what's going to happen. I should also, as part of the initial investigations that I'm making to select my buyer's agent to minimize risk, I want to know their process. I want to know who's going to be involved in that process. If that buyer's agent is buying interstate, I want to know, basically back to Jason's point, I want to know who is inspecting that property. So in the event that the buyer's agent can't get there, because to your point, we want to be in a hurry when the property comes to market, how are we getting that property assessed? And what we absolutely don't want to see is that assessment being done by the selling agent.
Yeah. Sight unseen without a suitable proxy. We've got clients who buy sight unseen, but the proxy is well and truly with us. It's not with someone else that's...
we're paying a professional to go and do that work. And, those professionals have also been vetted with years of experience or decades of experience in that particular market. So they also help us in terms of, and this is where I keep saying the sum of the parts of the team, because your buyer's agent isn't traditionally working independently on their own. They usually have a team of people around them, especially, and the larger businesses like ours that allow us to basically have a fully resourced business where we've got dedicated researchers, we've got dedicated support people around, we've got proxies in areas where we need to move quickly to secure properties before they come to market. Those types of things can potentially happen. And so, this comes back to no surprise fees. So you should know basically what you're going to be paying around building and pest, any contract reviews, if there's fees associated. All of those things are going to be part of that story that should be well communicated as part of your initial conversation with your buyer's agent.